A live look now at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. tonight, where lawmakers and President Biden are trying to come to an agreement to avoid defaulting on our national debt. Earlier today, negotiations took place between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the president. House Republicans want to see deep spending cuts in the federal budget in exchange for their support.
The underlying issue here is the Democrats, since they took the majority, has been addicted to spending, and that's going to stop. We're going to spend less than we spent last year.
It's time for Republicans to accept that there is no bipartisan deal to be made solely on their partisan terms.
Well, mass default has never happened before, but if it did, economists say it would have a devastating impact on our economy. So what would that mean for us? Gordon Severson joins us now with the breakdown. Gordon?
Yeah, economists say the U.S. government and the Treasury are like the sun of the financial system. Everything else revolves around it. So a default could affect everything from mortgage rates and credit cards to jobs and federal benefits.
Think about it as tentacles going throughout the economy and just a lot of uncertainty.
The impacts could be endless. If the U.S. were to default on its debt, economists say in the short term, it could delay payments for federal benefits like Social Security and paychecks for federal employees and the military. And any business that does work for the federal government may not get paid until everything gets figured out.
That can have real impacts on whether you keep hiring people or whether you have to lay people off until you do get paid.
In the medium term, economists say we would likely see a drop in the stock market, affecting millions of retirement accounts and savings accounts. And companies would likely be forced to cut jobs. Moody Analytics forecasts a default would wipe out nearly 6 million American jobs.
This would almost surely push us into recession. It's hard to imagine a default scenario where it doesn't put us into recession.
Long-term, economists say a default could make borrowing more expensive across the board, everything from credit card debt to mortgages and car loans. And the U.S. could lose its footing as one of the safest places for investors to save their money, which economists say could cost the U.S. government billions of dollars in the long run.
I think it's still unlikely to happen, but the small likelihood of a disastrous situation is still scary, I think.
According to the Treasury Department, the debt ceiling has been raised 78 times since 1960, and most of those times it wasn't a big issue, not until more recently when politicians started using it as a bargaining tool. That's why some economists are in favor of getting rid of the debt ceiling and putting a different system in place to keep government spending in check.
All right, good explainer, Gordon. Thank you.